What is going on, guys? We're going over the Kingdom Hearts 3 characters, Sora, Riku, and Kairi for you in case you guys want to pull on them or you guys may get them for free. So we're going to be talking about them and what you should be utilizing them for.
If you guys are playing War of the Visions or Brave Exvius and you're not using the Amazon App Store version of the game, there's no reason not to, especially if you're making in-app purchases, because the App Store and Amazon coins are going to save you up to 20%. We're sponsored by Amazon in the App Store today.
You can save up to 20%, especially if you use my special promo code down below. I'll have it linked in the description of every video for you guys, and it's not that hard to swap over. You simply need to go into your menu in your settings for either FFBE or War of the Visions. Make sure that your accounts are synced to the account email of your choice.
If you're buying anything in-app, there's no reason not to save up to 20% on your valuable real-world money. So go ahead and check that out. Thank you once again for that sponsorship, and let's get into the content.
Let's go on. Let's start in with the boy, Big Sora, coming in. Big damage dealer, chain finisher, chaining type character as well, with his huge limit burst damage. He's got a lot of powerful things going on about him, so let's go in and talk about him. His TMR here is very fantastic for him. If you do not have a very strong one-handed sword option already, you will have one for Sora with Oathkeeper. This is a 170 attack one-handed sword that gives you the effect of Keyblade of Light's 50% true double hand or 50% true dual wield attack. Only Sora can wear this, the original one or the Kingdom Hearts 3 Sora. So get in there, use this weapon if you don't already have a very strong one-handed weapon option, because he's going to be true dual wielding for you. He's a very powerful character in that regard. His STMR, the Guardian of Light, 80% attack and 75% limit burst damage. Also a stellar option for him. Gives you that attack, get you that LB damage. You need to put in some killers, etc. in his materia set. You're going to be good to go there. His vision card, the Keyblade Battle Graveyard, is a fantastic option for any character that wants to increase their percent attack here. It's very flexible. This is why this one is a nice pickup indeed if you do gain access to Sora, because you use it on anyone down the line, not just a Kingdom Hearts 3 character, because it gives 60% attack, period, regardless of what weapons you are using. If you are using a Kingdom Hearts 3 character, though, you get an additional 20% attack defense, magic, and spirits, and 10% all element except for dark resist there. So be sure to grab that if you gain access to Sora there. His Brave Shift ability is available from turn 1. It's got a 2-turn duration. This is going to be used for his burst damage, and then you will be able to swap back 2 turns later, or 3 turns later, excuse me. So that's going to be what you'll be using him for. But we'll dive into that in a minute here. His equipment selection: swords, great swords, katanas. Armor selection: no robes in the body piece, but he does have light armor, heavy armor, clothing, and he both has hats as well as helmets for a headpiece there. So let's talk about his main damage and skills. He has absolute mirror of equity. In his normal form here, he's going to be doing what we call the setup stuff. He's got some setup stuff. He's got some light absolute mirror of equity chaining frame damage. He's got a 66 times mod back-loaded with a 5 times mod front-loaded absolute mirror of equity chaining skill for his main damage dealing skill that you can spam here. Sun Ray Blast is going to be his Brave ability. He also does have access to 100% light and peril, as well as 6 LB gauge crystals with speed slash, okay, as well as light imbue with flash step. Now he does have triple command, which is going to be his triple cast on demand, and he also has access to a 120% light and peril with some 81 times mod light physical damage, mirror of equity in infinity. So this is going to where his main light and peril does come from. If you need to light imbue, you can do that as well with stun impact, not only with his non-cooldown version up here, flash step, but raw with stun impact here, which also is 3 turns light imbue and 300% attack bonus. He also has access to blitz form, which is going to be a cooldown that gives him access to HP and MP regeneration for 4 turns, as well as 3 stacks of Mirage that is recast 2 more times, which is a very powerful defensive setup slash recuperation cooldown to use there. Now for damage cooldowns, we have access to Stellar Inception. I always want to call it Interception. Stellar Inception, as well as Radial Blast here. Radial Blaster is going to be a 3-turn cooldown available on 3, which is a 72 times mod absolute mirror of equity chaining frame family skill. And you also have Stellar Inception, which is a 3-turn cooldown available on turn 3, 75 times mod absolute mirror of equity chaining frame skill. That also gives a 5x mod permanently to infinity, as well as a 2x mod permanently to Radio Blaster, Speed Slash, all the way up to +4, Stellar Inception, Sunray Blast, all the way up to +4. So that's going to be a main damage mod boost to a lot of these skills. And if these skills are brought and put together with Ignore Defense, or they have a front-load, back-loaded part, like if you look at Sunray Blast, which is a front-loaded, back-loaded part, that Sunray Blast is going to get an additional 2x mod on that, so a total of a 4x multiplier there for a 75x mod Absolute Mirror of Equity chaining frame skill, which is where we are nowadays. So where is his passives? What are they doing here? He does have True Dual Wield passives, 150% True Dual Wield, 100% True Double Hand. He does have the 6x mod cap, so you're gonna be True Dual Wielding him. It just makes sense. It's just common sense. A lot of attack passives. Guts at 5% HP lock, which is pretty notable there. He also has 3 LB per turn, 200% LB damage, and his limit burst is a 100x mod that increases the multiplier by 5.0 for 4 turns to Speed Slash as well as Sunray Blast. So you get some more chaining frame damage from him. So he does have the good chaining frame mod, 75 on demand, but what about his Brave Shift? The Brave Shift here is really what makes him special. So if we go Brave Shift here and check him out, he has some very unique things that allow you to set up, do bonus damage, and it's just really it's just great. He's going to remind you a lot of Tifa. So we have Radiant Brands here for a unique skill that he gains access to. 53x light mod, Absolute Mirror of Equity chaining frame skill with a 250% LB damage bonus for 2 turns to the caster. You're going to be using your LB after you Radiant Brands. He also has Ultimate Finish, which gives him 15% extra light damage for 2 turns to the caster, attached to an 81x mod, Absolute Mirror of Equity chaining frame skill. He also has Spiral Drove, which is a 48x mod, Absolute Mirror of Equity chaining frame skill that gives you 15 LB gauge crystals each time it's cast. So these are going to be the unique skills to set up on a non-cooldown oriented style here with your Sora. You're going to swap into him. You're going to set up. You're going to do 250% LB damage. You're going to give yourself that light damage for 2 turns. And if you need to, you can increase your LB gauge by another 15. These skills also do damage, even though Radiant Brains is only 53, not the highest. Ultimate Finish is 81. That's a very nice mod attached to a chaining frame skill. You're still going to have 1 extra skill that you can cast in there if you need LB gauge. You can do Spiral Drove, or you can come in with Infinity Wheel or Radio Blaster or Stun Impact or Sonic Cleave here, which is a new cooldown skill. Absolute Mirror of Equity, 4-turn cooldown available on turn 4. 105x mod total there, 100 on the backloaded part with Sonic Cleave, or you can Infinity Wheel, 2 uses per battle. It's his Grandest ability here, 120% Light and Peril with a total of a 90x mod, 85 of it backloaded to all enemies as well. So you can get in there, channel up a whole bunch of damage, and then get ready to fire off his Limit Burst, the Circle of Light, which is a 24 hit skill, 150x mod to all enemies. So very powerful ability there. You're going to use him as a LB damage dealer in his Brave Shift form. It is just that powerful for you to do that with him. He also does exceptional chaining damage, and I do believe that you can chain this with Absolute Mirror of Equity as well, though don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure that you can do that. I'm not sure if the chaining frames match up exactly. I know Riku has a skill that allows you to chain with Sora's LB, and Riku is just all entirely Absolute Mirror of Equity chaining frame families there, although it is early in the morning and I did not check. I will not lie, did not go in and check the chaining frames for the LB here, but I do believe that it does chain that way. With that being said, his passives here, very similar situation here. 100% True Dual Wield here, 200% a True Double Hand attack. He still has the chain multiplier cap of 6 times, so you are going to be True Dual Wielding him LB damage in this form. Get in there, do a bunch of damage. So those are the most notable things he has in this form. He also has 50% LB damage passively, as well as 150% human killer. So very powerful LB, 150 times mod, extremely strong character. So if that's how you have to be using the Sora, you're going to be using the Sora that way. He's a very strong character. Now with Riku here, we're also going to have a very similar situation. Riku is a very powerful chaining character. He's going to be more dark focused than Sora. He also has some very nice TMRs and super TMRs for us to go over. So we have Rush Glove, which is a 50 attack accessory with air combo boost, 30% LB damage. So this is a very powerful TMR for you to use if you are needing a little bit of extra LB damage in your accessory slot. Guardian of Light here, 100% true dual wield and 100% true double hand. Very powerful in the STMR. Also gives you 80% attack. So keep that in mind there. If you are looking for someone, you do get your hands on access to this Super Trust Master reward. You can slot that in. Now, a lot of the time you guys are going to be using materia with killers on it or LB damage, but this is really slot efficient if you are using a character that needs that attack percent as well as exactly 100% more true double hand or 100% more true dual wield. So it's a very flexible TMR in that regard. Now we also have Facing the Demon Tower, which is his vision card. Extremely powerful for sword users, and it's going to be by far Sora's like best vision card. It gives you 80% attack if you're equipped with a sword, so very strong there. It also gives you 110 extra base attack, so 10% stronger than all of the other 100 base attack vision cards. Keyblade Wielder is the final ability on this one, and this is only active for Kingdom Hearts 3 characters. It gives you 20% more attack as well as 50% limit burst damage for having it equipped, so extremely powerful there. Let's go over Riku though, the rest of his abilities here in his normal form. We'll talk about his Brave Shift form. His Brave Shift ability, just like Sora's, available right away, duration's 2 turns, and then it cools down actually, so you can swap back in there a little bit quicker. He also can wear dagger swords as well as katanas. Same armor situation, hats and helmets. No robes though, but he does have light armor, heavy armor, as well as clothing there. So just like Sora, he's going to be an absolute mirror of equity chainer. He also does have access to some breaks, which is very nice for him. So let's talk about this stuff right here. He does have Sonic Dodge for 1 turn of Mirage to himself, attached to an absolute mirror of equity skill. He also has some self-mitigation attached to a mirror of equity skill. These two things, really not the craziest things ever, but we do have Sword Break, which is an increased break gauge skill for sword damage. So if you are doing that, you are using him in those certain situations, you might actually use that skill there for that little bit of extra utility. Now he also has Dark Maelstrom, which is going to be a brave ability for him. 67 times mod that Dark imbues himself for 3 turns and is a 150% LB damage buff for 2 turns to the caster. It's a fantastic ability here for him. He also has Shadow Strike, which is a 92 times mod absolute mirror of equity chaining frame skill, and it's an 80% attack, defense, magic, and spirit break for 3 turns to 1 enemy. So he is going to have that extra added utility of being a breaker here with an 80% on demand break. He also has base triple cast, and let's get into his cooldown slash grindus abilities here. Overdrive is his first cooldown skill, 300% attack buff with an HP and MP regeneration. So that's going to be your go-to setup attack buff for Riku. Dual trigger here, 2 uses per battle with his grindus ability. 100 mod absolute mirror of equity chaining frame family skill with a 40 LB gauge increase to the caster. So that is going to be the setup, big damage into my LB skill. You get 2 uses of that, and you're going to want to make use of this right before you go in and transform into your LB damage dealing Brave Shift ability. Dark Break is going to be a cooldown skill, 2 turn cooldown, available on turn 1. 130% Dark Imperil for 3 turns to 1 enemy. So you'll be triple casting this. You're always going to have access to this. It flows really nicely with his Brave Shift ability going in and out of Brave Shift form, because you're going to have the setup here with dual trigger, overdrive, Dark Break, or even go in there with Shadow Strike. Pick your poison, whatever it is that you need to do at the time, but the Dark Imperil is always going to be available for you to combine with the other 2 abilities that you're using right before you go into Brave Shift form to do a lot of damage. Now his passive ability here, he does have the 200% 6 times chain cap, so keep that in mind. He also has 50% LB damage as well as 150% human killer in this build, and 100% true dual wield form if you do choose to use him in this form as a LB damage dealer. You can do that. His LB in this form, the base form here, does have 115 times mod to 1 enemy, 125% Dark Imperil, but it also is an 85% attack, defense, magic, and spirit break on that 40 LB crystal cost. So if you're single target breaking a character, a damage dealer, you're looking for one of those, he can do that, and that's just his base form though. So let's go ahead and check out his Brave Shift form. Triple command obviously still in here. This is where all of his damage attacks are going to be. He still has access to that sword break if you want to use it in this form. I would not recommend it though. He still has Dark Maelstrom. Now he also has Dark Divide, which is a 100 times absolute mirror of equity chaining frame skill there. So 80 times backloaded, 20 times in the first 7 hits. He also has still access to overdrive, but he also now has access to Shadow Breaker as well as Sword Smash. Shadow Breaker is going to be 1 use per battle. It is a 150 times multiplier, absolute mirror of equity chaining frame skill there. And then we have Sword Smash, which is a cooldown skill, 3-turn cooldown available on turn 3, 100 times a dark mod to one enemy, which increases the multiplier of several skills by either times 10 or by times 5 for 2 turns to the caster. And if any of these skills like Shadow Breaker, right, or like Dark Divide are this front-loaded, back-loaded version of skill that Riku has access to, he's going to get these multipliers 2 times added to his skills there. So keep that in mind as well. So for instance, Dark Divide is going to be absolute mirror of equity 20 times for 7 hits, 80 times that final hit. This 5 times mod increase is going to go to each of these. So this is going to go to a 110 times multiplier absolute mirror of equity skill there. His passives in this form, he has access to Fairy Slayer of 150%, 150% LB damage, 6 times mod cap still in 100% true dual wield with a slew of attack percent passives, and he has access to Dark Faraga as a 150 times mod dark physical damage, 12 hit limit burst. Big damage there, so extremely powerful coming in with these characters. Once again, very strong chaining capabilities and very strong limit burst damage burst capabilities, or even chaining burst capabilities with Riku. A lot of his damage on his stuff though, even if you're not using him for an LB damage, you don't have the LB damage gear, this guy's going to be your go-to guy for that big burst damage. You have Sword Smash followed by Shadow Breaker and Dark Divide all in the same turn. That's a lot. That's a ton of damage. You're looking at how many multipliers in damage, like almost 400, like 350-ish, 330-ish, somewhere around there. All over 300 multipliers in just straight up raw chaining damage. So Riku, very powerful character there if you're not looking for a light-based physical damage dealer. Now Riku is going to be followed up by Kairi here. Kairi is going to be our support healer type damage dealer in this game, FFBE, on this banner here. Kairi's dress, 22 spirit, 33 attack, 22 defense, 33 attack, 40 spirit, anti-darkness fabric, 50% attack, 50% spirit, females only. Slap that on if you're looking for those big percentages. If you're looking for flat stats though, this is not going to be good for you. But if you're looking for those percentages, slap it on. It is very good. Now we have the all triple S tier, 7 stars, 77777 STMR here with Guardians of Light, 70% attack, 70% spirit, 7% MP, 7 LB gauge, and 70% dark resist. This TMR, or STMR I should say, is a fantastic Super Trust Master reward if you're trying to bulk up your physical damage dealers, or if you're trying to get LB gauge with MP regeneration with spirit on your supports and healers. There's a lot of ways that you can use this in FFBE. So if you get your hands on it, you're going to use it in some way, shape, or form, whether it's the dark resist or the LB gauge or the attack or the spirit or the MP percent. You may not always use it for all of the things at the same time, but you'll use it for something. Her vision card here is the Paopu Fruits Final Bond. This is going to be an attack plus spirit vision card. It gives you attack and spirit flat stats here. It also gives you attack and spirit 40% from the level 4 and level 7 levels combined there. And then if you are using this on a Kingdom Hearts 3 character like Kairi, you get attack and spirit 30% in addition to 50% additional light resist. It's an okay card if you want to use it once again to bulk up a physical damage dealer so they can survive some magic damage. This is going to be a go-to once again for you. Now let's talk about her. She has a cooldown on her Brave Shift once again of 1 turn. You can use it on turn 1 and it only has a 2-turn duration, and then you're swapped back. She can use swords and great swords. She can wear hats, clothing, light armor, and robes. So let's get into her supportive style. Weird sort of kit here. So she does have access to 120% light and peril with Saintly Fall. She does have access to 6 LB gauge crystal fill with fighting boost, her brave ability, attached to a absolute mirror of equity 64 times multiplier, so you can use her to chain up, give that LB gauge to your entire party. If you want her to do damage though, she also has Holy Shower, which is a 5 times mod in the first 7 hits, absolute mirror of equity skill, but a 72 times mod back loaded hit. So that's a good multiplier, light physical damage. It is light locked, but it is going to be good to do that there if you are looking to do some damage with her. She also has Saintly Saber for light imbue for 4 turns to the caster if you do want to make her non elemental skill like fighting boost, light damage as well, but she already has several options to do damage with that light imbue, or without that light imbue, I should say, with Holy Shower. With that being said, she also has Saintly Fall, which we talked about, the 120% light and peril, but not only does it light and peril, but it is an absolute mirror of equity 70 or 47 times physical damage multiplier. Hyper healing is her cooldown skill, revives all KO'd allies to full life, gives them the ability to also remove all those status elements and heal them with a 3000 HP with a 12 times healing mod. So it's small healing mod on that. It is a 2-turn cooldown available on turn 2 though, which is the thing to keep in mind there. It doesn't give re-raise though. So while it doesn't put re-raise on, it's a very easy access, full life plus heal plus status element removal, all on a 2-turn cooldown there. Destiny's Embrace, 4 uses per battle, light physical damage, 95 multiplier to 1 enemy, with a 15 times mod increase to Destiny's Embrace for 2 turns. So if you just keep using this every turn, you cannot cast this multiple times in the same turn. Just Destiny's Embrace for the 95, and then Destiny's Embrace for 110, 110, 110. That's going to be her damage dealer skill. You can get in there 4 turns in a row and use that in her normal form. Spiral Bloom with a total of a 90 mod absolute mirror of equity chaining frame skill with a 5 to 20 times multiplier increase for certain skills. So 20 times multipliers for Holy Light as well as Holy Shoot. So if you go ahead and look at Holy Light, Holy Shoot, which is not in her base form, we'll get to it though. Don't you worry. We have Holy Shower in the base form. Rise Up is a attack of the spirit, 250% buff for 5 turns to the caster with a 400 MP split for 5 turns to the caster as well. So not a whole lot. They label her as a healer. Not a whole lot of big healing going on in this form. You do have Kira, Kingdom Hearts 3, but she doesn't have that traditional crazy full support kit. She's like that hybrid sort of character. Moving into her passives, you're going to notice that she has 200% true double hand, as well as 150% LB damage, as well as 100% human and fairy slayer. She does not have 6 times mod chain cap, so she is going to be a true double hand character if you're making her and building her for that damage. Her LB, though, also pretty powerful. 10 hits, 38 cost, 93 times mod to all enemies there, with a 10 times mod increase to a slew of her skills, from Destiny's Embrace to Spiral Bloom to Holy Shower, Holy Shoot, Holy Bloom, all of that stuff, which we're going to get into right now with her Brave Shift form. So let's talk about this. We have Double Flow as well as Triple Command. Double Flow is going to be more of her healing-esque cooldown skills as well as non-cooldown skills like HP healing, whereas Triple Command is going to be for her big damage dealing skills in her Brave Shift form. So dual cast for support, triple cast for damage is what we're looking at here. So if we'll take a look at her damage dealing skills. Kira is also in her triple command. Keep that in mind as well. Fighting boost is a 64 times mod to all enemies with a 6 LB gauge to all allies. So more support utility there. She still has Saintly Saber for the light imbue to your party. Still has Flower Shoot for fire magic damage with spirit scaling, which is not something that we're going to be using. She also has Holy Light in this form, which is a nice skill. 49 times mod, absolute mirror of equity, chaining frame family here. 100% ribbon ailment resistance for 5 turns to all allies. So no attack, defense, magic, and spirit break and stop and charm immunity from this skill, but you get the full ribbon immunity if you're looking for that in this skill here with our girl Kairi here. Now hyper healing 2-turn cooldown is still available in this one. This is the full raise with cure all status ailments and the HP heal. Keep that in mind there. And then the legendary Holy Shoot that we talked about, 66 times multiplier to one enemy with a 250% LB damage increase as well. So yes, you're going to be having the ability to fire off a hefty LB damage buff into an LB with this support style aspected Brave Shift for her as well. So her HP healing is going to be a larger upfront heal than her other healing skills. Also attached to it is going to be an HP regen there in this form. That's one of these skills on Double Flow. Then we have hyper healing, which is also on Double Flow. Then we have Holy Shoot, Nature Support, and Leaf Bracer. So Nature Support, big support skill here. 25% light and magic damage buff for 5 turns to all allies. So if you're doing light damage, 25% more damage, period. Fantastic ability there. 100% light resistance is attached to that, and it also gives you 10 LB gauge to all allies. Holy Shoot is still on the double cast in case you want to use it right here. 3-turn cooldown available on turn 3, so you can mix this up with one of the hyper healings or the next and following skill, which is a Leaf Bracer, 6-turn cooldown available on turn 1. HP heal to all allies there, so instant healing. Cures attack, defense, magic, spirit break, stop, and charm resistance, and also makes you immune to attack, defense, magic, spirit break, stop, and charm for 5 turns with a 30% HP auto revive. So very powerful temporary immunity to those effects. She also, remember, has access to her ribbon effect in Holy Lights. However, Holy Lights is on the triple cast, whereas Leaf Bracer is on the double cast. So you're not gonna be able to use them both at the same time, which is a big negative if you're using her strictly as a healer in your party. She's not gonna be a healer in your party. She's gonna be a damage dealer, healer, weird combination sort of character. She's going to be more of a damage dealer that has supportive aspects, very powerful ones, than she is going to be a full-on healer for you. Now we have 7 wishes, 118 physical damage to one enemy, 7 hits there on the 7 wishes at limit burst. Remember, she also does have that 250% LB damage buff. So while she does do some good damage, she's not going to be hanging out and doing crazy amounts like the boys are doing with their 150% or 150 times mod LB damage, especially Sora, with his also 250% LB damage buff. Now in this form, she also does have access to true double hand 150% as well, and she is going to be immune to charm, confuse, and stop, which is a big thing there. She also has the ability to reduce the MPs that she's using to cast her abilities by 15%, so it's going to help you guys out if you are struggling for MP cost reduction or MP regeneration skills. If you're a newer player with these larger MP using skills, a lot of you guys out there aren't, but I just wanted to mention that real quickly there. As far as attack and spirit, why is she attacking spirit? How? Why is she attacking spirit? How? I don't know. I don't know why she's some weird attack spirit split character. She doesn't really have anything that scales off spirit outside of Flower Shoot. So I don't know. Now, is she good? Is she usable? Yeah, for sure. Is she insanely good? Is she the next healer, damage dealer extraordinaire that you guys are lining up the block for? No, I don't think so. She's by far, I do believe, the worst character on the banner. Just because, just like that weird oddities in her kits, with the whole like my support aspects in my Brave Shift form, I don't always have access to it. And then even when I'm in my Brave Shift form, one of the skills I want to pair with the other skill, I can't pair them together because one's on the dual cast or one's on the triple cast. I really dislike that. But that being said, she's the worst character on the banner, but you can still use her and she will still do some stuff for you there. That being said, I don't know if I'd use her personally. I don't know. It just seems too clunky to me. It just seems a little bit of a clunkster for me to get on my team there. So that's going to be Kairi, Riku, and the boy Sora, guys. I wanted to get that out there for you. Let me know what you think about them in the comment section below. Sorry if this sounds a little bit rushed. I didn't do this super early in the morning. I just woke up. So please forgive me there. But until then, I'll see you guys. Stay safe. Have a good holiday. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care.